Hello, it is me, RJB, and I am back again live here on YouTube TV to bring you an amazing set of matches between none other than Braingod himself against none other than 458 himself. And just the fact that these two players are matched up against each other should be a great indication and a foretelling of the future. That this is going to be a very exciting match to watch, because it's Braingod, who is unanimously considered to be the best fastest map players, and as of recently, he's also considered to be one of the best regular map players, considering he beat both Light and Mind in the ASL round 1 and made it into round 2 without dropping a single match so far. He also managed to beat Saxry in the qualifier, and he managed to beat Bishop in the ACS that managed to get him into the final of the qualifier. But that aside, we have praised Braingod enough for now. Everyone knows he's a very solid player. But let's see what 458 here, right above him, the white Protoss, is going to do. And just in case you didn't know, yes, the Terran star 6012 is Braingod. And 458, of course, is Braingod. Doesn't get much more self-explanatory than that. Without further ado, this is a 3 gateway start that is already very far out of the ordinary for 458. I haven't really seen him do this all that often. But then again, this is a replay from 2018, from November, which might be from a time frame where his build orders were different than what they were half a year ago, when I think his play almost peaked in terms of level, and his Protoss honestly did seem to become closer to unbeatable than beatable. That aside though, a little of a bad manner pylon there blocking access to the gas, which will force Braingod to adapt into doing something else really. He's kind of ignoring the pylon for now. He's got in the corner there though, because 458 tried to get a cannon rush up, but the front has already been blocked by this single bunker. There's 3 Marines in the bunker. He's already making a wall as well. Start there, then another depot here, another depot there right on top for a 3 depot wall. There's the second bunker, has finished up. 5 Marines there on the seat in total. 2 SVs finishing up depots. Finally taking care of that pylon as well. Number of zealots there in the front is slowly balling up. Gas has been started there. No cyber core yet. The Cybercore should soon be on the way. There it is. As is our friend, Mr. Cybercore. 1 cannon there in the front. And honestly, I must admit that I do not really like the 3 gateway start here from 458. I also don't like that he didn't go for a +1 Nexus, meaning he's going to be running on a very low economy build into someone like Braingod, who has pretty much been untouched in this very early phase of the game. There, very quick, smart switch up with the SCV. Make sure that the SCV is not there on the far side. He managed to kill the depot there. Actually, he manages to break in altogether. He tries to block it with the Marines, but the Marines pretty much goes down because it's damn zealots. So 5 zealots make its way into the base. And given that Braingod only had a 2 barrack pump, it's going to be a really tough task to fight against those zealots. But if he can micro this really well, which he can, he's microing this really amazingly well. He hasn't lost a single Marine there inside of his base, but did manage to kill 3 of those zealots. That's some of the best Marine micro I've seen so far. They're chasing those zealots into the corner and doomed to finish them off. They started the academy, added on 2 command centers to boost his economy up, lifting 1 barracks because he wants to... Ooh, 458 might have seen that one. Wait, the vision's already gone. He might have seen his barrack being lifted up, which might give 458 some pointers as to what he can do and what he should do. 2 factories on the way. 458 has got his robotics on the way. He's got Soul of Doom finished up, but there's no Templar's Archive. There's this... Oh, there's a... What? Why is the Templar's Archive there on the front? That's a very risky location for a Templar's Archive, because if this goes down, it might hurt his combat ability by quite a bit deeper into the game. But I think that Braingod, for now, is just planning on camping this one out. There's the engineering bay for the turrets. There's a pylon there on the bottom side, just to detect a barracks. If it does get floated over, it would be aimed to land on the low ground to produce some fire bats. Cannon there, of course, a precaution against fire bats. Also a precaution against this scouting his base. Scan did come out. His scan energy is on low, and I heard the sound. There it is. Use the scan. So he must have spotted this portion here in the front. The front has once again been walled off, making a threat there as well. Looks like he might plan on going for hill play here with dropships and tanks and push his way closer to the minerals. Seems to be his plan here, because he is already going for... He's not already going for a starport. I thought this would be a starport, but it turns out to be a factory. So he might not be going for the before mentioned strategy whatsoever. He might be going for something completely different. But I do suspect he's going to make Goliaths as his anti-drop measure. Already flying in some of those zealots, just to deal some damage to the Marines there on the low ground. Try to take down the turrets there as well. The Marines are being microed away really nicely. Almost perfect micro. There he's just letting the medic heal, which should prevent it from dying. So the first drop doesn't achieve all that much. Kills a couple of Marines, but doesn't kill any of the turrets. Great attempt. Quite a more or less a requirement, but doesn't achieve much. On the downside though, the shuttle is on very low HP, and there's 3 Dark Templars in there, and there's an engineering bay there that spots the shuttle. Front gets attacked by a couple Marines, by a couple zealots, but the bunkers take care of that. And he gets a load only a single Dark Templar. The scan comes about immediately and takes care of the Dark Templar with those Goliaths and the Marines. So he's going for Goliaths to fight against the shuttles. He's going to target fire them with the Goliaths, of course. No other reason why he would have those Goliaths otherwise. Single factory tank pump should be enough to keep enemy units at bay. Considering 458 is going full on into drop tech and not planning on going for anything else. No mass, basically. He's just going for drops at the moment. A mass could be a great counterpunch, but of course, because Braingod has those scans, he can always see it coming. He can always see the change in build that 458 is doing and prepare himself for a mass attack. So drops is his best bet. If he can fly one of those drops in there and deal some economic damage to Braingod, he might set himself up for some success, but at the moment he's pretty far behind on Braingod, because Braingod is on 49 SCVs against 35 probes there from 458. 458 here finding his entrance on the low side. Only 2 Goliaths there to intercept the shuttles. One of the shuttles, loading zealots there to distract. Another one has Templars in it. All those Templars are low on the low ground and get the Great Storm off. The loads there, gets 13 kills. That's a great hit. There's another Templar there as well. This Templar, I didn't see how many he got, but I think he got about 3 or 4. Because the worker count was on about 50 at the moment they flew in. So keeping that one alive there. Doesn't have energy though, just there to distract and keep Braingod on his toes. So yeah, Braingod losing a lot of mining time, losing about 13 of his workers. Quite painful. Good first drop there from 458. 458 there trying to go back in, trying to distract. Oh wait, that's really smart. That is really smart. He almost got those. He almost got the SVs there with the splash damage from the siege tanks on top of the Dark Templar. That's a really smart move there from 458, which if it worked, it would have been the end of the game. 458 would have been too weak. Another drop comes in, but the drop gets taken down by the Goliaths, because there's only a single shuttle, and these 2 Goliaths take care of single shuttles really quickly. Another drop there coming in from the top side, this time around with more Templars unloading, but the Templars get sniped down, but another Templar there on the mix. But it storms on top of the tanks, misses the SCVs, SCV stays alive. Braingod extends the game. His worker count is all fine and dandy now, because in relation to where 458 is, Braingod still has the lead. Even though he's been forced to pull off his workers quite often. Purely because 458 went for this +1 Nexus so very late compared to the +2 Command Center from Braingod. Braingod is technically still ahead. Purely because he got more income. Templars coming down. Templars getting dodged there, but he kills a couple of them. Mostly kills a couple of tanks here. Killing those tanks is great. Now Zealots already have been unloaded there to take care of those turrets on the top side. That's a great move there from 458. Makes it way easier to fly those drops in. Forces Braingod to spend his minerals on making new turrets there as well, and forces him to relocate his units there to the top side of his base. Great setup. Now the real drop comes in, but there's a lot of Goliaths there, and the Goliaths take down the shuttle pretty much instantly. Although the Zealots now are damaging the Goliaths do get micro away. But the game is looking pretty damn difficult here for Braingod at this exact moment. Now the drop has been loaded up. This is pretty much chain gun drops, or however you call them. Once again goes in, but the drop shuttles don't get target fired this time around. He was focusing on the Corsair. He chases. He wants to get splash damage down on those SCVs. He gets storm on SCVs, and his SCVs dodge the storm. They split up really nicely. So Braingod has been handling this really well. 458 has been doing a great job getting those shuttles in there. But most of the storms have missed by just an inch. Gets to unload 3 of those zealots. Once again, the turrets there are under attack. Next drop is already on the way. He's just clearing a path. Making sure that Braingod is distracted with something he doesn't want to be distracted by. This time around, the shuttle goes all the way around the map. He added on machine shops to all of his factories because he already has a sufficient amount of Goliaths. He had a sufficient amount of Goliaths, but the Goliaths have gone down. Now he needs to make another round. If he wants to keep sniping those shuttles, I think these Goliaths will finish up just in time to snipe the shuttle that's coming in here from the left side of the right side of the map. The northern side of the map of his base, has not yet been plucked up. 458 very slowly adding onto his base. Looks like he's creeping up on Braingod here, very slowly but steadily. He's been progressing. Braingod has pretty much been stuck on around 50 to 40 workers so far for the last 5 minutes. Drop comes in. 2 drops. One of them is a fake. One of them is a real. He's chasing there with the real one. He's trying to get splash damage down on the SCVs. SCVs gets a storm up on the SCVs, but SCVs dodge once again. And of course there's a medic there in the mix to keep healing those SCVs. That's a great mechanic there. Smart. Because those SCVs, while they don't die to a single storm, if they stay on low HP, at some point they will all die to a storm because they're already on such low HP. So always get a medic there into the mix right next to the SCVs and keep healing them up. And once again, another drop already flying in. This is like the fastest amount of the smallest amount of time in between each drop I've seen in a while. This is like drop after drop after drop, instant dropping. That's the downside of the instant dropping though. His base is quite small, but it's also because he went for the very late +1 Nexus. So his base is quite small, but he's been dealing some serious punches. But most of these serious punches have been getting deflected somewhat by Braingod. It's mostly material damage that isn't really that making that much of it. Oh, this one might be a big difference there. Get some great storms off, kills about 16 once again. Worker count went from 60 to 44. Still has a lot of workers left alive. There's no more medic there in the mix. The medic died to the storm. Meaning that now the SCVs are more exposed to storm drops than before. And there's no barrack there on the low ground. He lifted them all up there to the side, so no medics to heal up those SCVs. And 458 is now reaching the point where he can honestly start adding onto his base and comfortably pump out drops in rapid succession. Next to those 3 robotic facilities there on the top side. By the moment these land, he can already unload another one. Once again, unload zealots there, ready to take down those turrets there on the top side. Smart play. But there's a lot of Goliaths this time around in Braingod's base because he added on more factories. Meaning that he can make waves of 7 Goliaths at a time. But this time he's going for the frontal attack. He unloads behind the line of defense there, takes down the tanks, which means that the dragoons there in the front can start focusing on the bunkers. Zealots, of course, also taking down the bunkers. A hole is slowly being created here in the front. There's nothing there. If you move Mario goes back his Goliaths a tiny bit, he can start taking down those depots, but the tanks have already moved up from the back to the front. Make sure to take down those dragoons there in the front, but this exposes the backside here a little bit more than it used to be exposed. Although the drop this time around is not coming in rapid succession because 458 was focused on the front here. Even players with this high APM, it can be hard to multitask too many things at the same time. So looks like he might be up to something fishy here, because he is going for that covered ops, but he does not have a barrack on the low ground. His EMP is on the way. He's got 2 dropships there in the mix. Vessel on the way as well, but a use drop coming here down from the right side of the map. This is his weakest side though, because most of the Goliaths are there on the top side of his base and the front side. Almost nothing here on the bottom corner. Well, now he's moving Goliaths down to the bottom corner of his base, because I think he assumes the drop has to be coming from the bottom side, because the drop has not been coming from the top side for a while. Swordfate is this time around he's very slowly loading up his drops. But he also wants to prepare a frontal attack with all those Dragoons and Zealots. The bunker there, the depot there in the front burned down to burn damage. Now he comes in, unloading on top of the Goliaths. Great defensive matrices there from Braingod. Keeps those tanks alive. It also makes it very hard for these Dragoons from the front to start dealing some real damage there on the front there. Those Dragoons there tripping out, but drop comes in from the bottom side, but he snipes both the shuttles and he takes down the Templar as well. So Braingod handling this like a boss. One mistake, like, I cannot stress this enough. A single mistake this game from Braingod would have cost him the game, but he hasn't made a single mistake so far. He's honestly played this perfectly. 458 has played it really well as in his own regard, but Braingod has just been hitting every single note, so to speak. This time though, Templar there. Ooh, and that's what I'm talking about. He lost a lot of SCVs there because they were already on low HP. You saw them just disappear instantly. Whereas if they had full HP, they would have walked through and kept on living for a little while longer. So Braingod is very slowly being picked apart. One of the reasons why is because he didn't have a medic anymore near his SCVs. Slowly unloading some Zealots there on top of those Siege tanks. Siege tanks, of course, killing themselves with the splash damage. Great move. Yeah, he's got the ghost. He's going for a nuke, but I don't see him. Oh, there is the nuke. He's trying to nuke. Well, now he starts landing tanks up on the hill there, which is going to make this a very painful area for 458. And all it takes for Braingod at this point is to land a ghosty on the low ground, throw a nuke on this, and then progress for a second nuke on the probes. Either 458 has to start an expo for his minerals, or he has to finish Braingod off very, very quick. Unloads there on top of the tanks. Great unload. Flies the shuttles back to keep them alive. Now Zealots coming in from the front there as well. Braingod is feeling the heat now, and he might actually have been hurt to such a degree that he might not survive the continuous attacks from the front from 458. Though those tanks here on the high ground are being a real pain in the ass for 458's attacks, because they take a lot of damage on the Zealots on the low ground, and the Zealots cannot fight back. But Templars this time once again on the low ground there. He got 3 storms in the mix. Misses 1 storm, misses 2 storms, and there is his 3rd Templar there, but doesn't have energy. I think he used 3 storms, so maybe one of them got sniped before it could get a storm off. So yeah, tanks being moved to the front again. He's loading them up into the dropships. He wants to get control over the hill here on the bottom side of 458's base, and pretty much force 458 to play really against the clock mostly. Wants him to play him against the clock. And it's going to be very painful to play against the clock, because if there's no clock ticking, or bomb ticking, so to speak, it becomes way easier to play the PvT. Now the pressure's really on. Once again, a great defensive matrix there, keeping the tank alive. That would have been quite painful if they lost all the tanks there on the high ground. Once again, drop comes in. This time the shuttles stay alive. Actually, one of the shuttles somehow went down before the Corsair went down. Nonetheless, takes down a couple of those turrets there. He keeps the pressure up. Braingod is once again making a new wall in the front. And there comes the Ghost with the nuke. He really wants to get this one off. Takes down the Observer first. Very, very smart move, meaning that he cannot see. Oh, he's trying to kill it with splash damage, is he? Oh, the nuke is gonna come down. Nuke is gonna kill the probes. This is gonna be disastrous for 458. 458 has nothing he can do. I think he has given up in the match here. He knows he's completely screwed, and bam, there comes the nuke. He didn't pull his probes in time and loses all the probes. Only has 13 left. And Braingod somehow turns the game around. The game was looking pretty tense for him, but he was threading on a knife's edge, basically. And managed to land the nuke there on top of the workers. Great move, great nuke, great coordination, great snipe on the Observer. A lot of people would have not thought of the Observer. Now he unloads tanks there with the EMP on the Nexus. Meaning the Nexus is going to go down to those tanks really quickly. That's a really smart... There's a reason he's called Braingod, because that was really smart Terran play there near the end. Really smart. Everything else was mostly pure mechanics and making not a single mistake. I honestly thought the game was almost in the hands of 458 there, because he was managed to keep the pressure up really well. His base though was kept really small because his worker count was not that high, and the very late +1 Nexus really did deny his transition into the late game. But even though it did somewhat stifle his transition into the late game, he held on really well and managed to deal out some great punches. But none of the punches were strong enough to break the defenses of Braingod, because Braingod had amazing reactions, amazing micro, amazing control. Everything went as it should have gone for Braingod. Even though he did lose a couple of workers here and there. But the nuke, amazing stuff. I love it. So yeah, there's 2 more games. So let's go for game number 2 and see how that one pans out. Game number 2, we are once again back with the exact same matchup with Braingod on the Terran, 458 of course on the Protoss. Because, well, this was of course streamed on Braingod's YouTube channel at his Africa live stream. And people just love watching the great fastest map streamers go up against 458's Protoss. And I can entirely see why, because it's honestly really exciting to watch. It's exciting to watch as a replay. It's exciting to watch them from their first person point of view. Oh, what is this? What is Braingod doing? He is up to something. He's up to no good. Looks like he's going for a mid racks. He's going for a mid barracks. What is 458 going to do? If 458 starts off with 2 gateways, this is going to be a win for 458. But if 458 starts off with a Nexus, this is going to be a very painful and humiliating loss for 458. So let's just see how that one pans out. Makes his second barrack there on the middle. This is BBS, barrack, supply depot. Supply depot is going to be made somewhere on there. Supply depot. This one's scouting. These 2 are going to scout as well. And Braingod is in fact in luck, because he's going to find 458's location on the very first scout. But there's already 2 gateways on the way there for 458. And he sees the SEV, but I don't think he's going to scout the middle, so he doesn't know that there's 2 barracks there on the middle ready to start attacking him. This SEV might start make a bunker somewhere. Maybe he's going to just wait a little bit. Braingod has to be feeling a little bit anxious here, though. He has to be feeling a little bit anxious. Marine is on the way, but Zealots are on the way as well. And the fact that those Zealots are on the way is a very scary situation here for Braingod, because it might spell that this strategy that he's trying to pull off here is already going to fail. He's keeping the SV there on the corner, keeping SD units there on the middle as well. He hasn't moved out yet. He's waiting, he's just balling up his units. He's pulling more SVs there to the middle. There he starts the bunker. But the Zealots have spawned. Zealots take care of the SV that's making the bunker, but the SV gets pulled off right on time. Moves away. Bunker there. Just distracting. More SVs coming into the mix. He's making the bunkers that are now on the middle. He's gonna use those SVs as a wall, but 458 is planning on doing the exact same here. He's gonna move his probes in from behind there as well. Who wins the micro battle? This is all about a micro. Who's gonna win? There's a lot of Zealots, a lot of probes, and the Marine count is pretty small, but more Marines there are on the way. The bunker is almost close to finishing. The bunker might get finished very soon, but the probes get a great surround there on the SVs, and SVs managed to push those SVs back, but the bunker here does not get finished. It's only an 8 HP left. He's going to try to get that one in there on the mix, but he managed to block all the SVs really nicely, and the Marines there now exposed without the SCV wall to keep them alive. There he gets a great surround. Actually, the bunker has finished up. There's a single SCV there, but that's a lot of probes, a lot of Zealots. It looks like this has failed for Braingod, and I expect Braingod to be calling the GG here. He's not even calling the GG, he just leaves, and that's a win for 458. Somewhat lucky, although I have to admit, Barrack Supply Depot is a very forced early aggression cheese from the Terran. Very forced. And if the opponent is not starting off with the Nexus, it is going to fail. Because as you saw, all the Protoss has to do is pull off a couple of probes and pretty much get in between, pretty much get behind on the Marines, so that the Marines still take damage. And probes are pretty good against Marines if they get a surround on the Marines and prevent the Marines from being microed. As we saw, that's basically what happened there. Great micro from both players, and 458 comes out on top because his build order is honestly the superior one, because he can make Zealots very quickly at a quicker pace than Braingod can make his Marines and have his Marines appear on the scene. So yeah, exciting game number 2. Very unorthodox from what we haven't actually ever seen that happen. But let's move to game number 3. See how that one plays out. I don't think I have to mention what the matchup is going to be, because it's most likely going to be the exact same as it was last time around. Braingod on the yellow Terran on the bottom right of the map. 458, the blue Protoss. No surprises there, but there might be some surprises in store for us, the viewers. Because based on the last 2 games, they have both pretty much been... The first one was somewhat orthodox, but also unorthodox in the sense of what Braingod did. He went for full-on mech as his defense against drops, which is not that ordinary. Most players just go for the Marines, because Stim Upgrade is so easy and so strong, and Marines are so easy to replace. You can so easily make a huge ball of Marines. He went for the Goliaths and the tanks. It was a nice mix-up. Then he went, of course, for the Nuke. Great Nuke. I loved that Nuke, honestly did. Then the EMP on the Nexus to fly in the tank drop. Also amazing combination. Really smart. He earned himself the name Braingod there. Game number 2, I feel like it was a little bit too forced, but it would have been a very quick best of 3 win for Braingod if he managed to pull off that barrack supply rush. So Braingod starts off with the +1 command center. That's really greedy, really greedy. Might backfire, it might not backfire. It all depends on how well 458 can use his 2 gateway zealot pump and micro zealots into the delayed Marines that Braingod is going to have here. Whether Braingod is going for 2 barracks or 3 barracks is up to debate, because I honestly don't know. Most of the time we see him do 2 barracks. Well, 3 barracks it is. And he puts it pretty smart location, because now we can put a bunker here. This pretty much functions as a wall. If you put it there, it's a little bit riskier, because this portion would then be open. Zealots would very easily have access to this portion here behind the barracks, but instead he builds it there. Smart adaptation for SimCity. Gas is already on the way. Probe is about to scout him. Another probe is also scouting. He's got 2 zealots finished up. Nexus has on the way. Cybernetics Core should be on the way after the forge. Should be on the way very soon. Yeah, there's the bunker, smart bunker. And that bunker there is going to protect this entire portion here against zealots. It's going to be very hard to get in on those, on the bunker. I think that 458 might try to do a cannon push, or he might just go straight into what he originally planned to do, which is a very shuttle-centric playstyle. He might even switch it up for Dragoons, I'm not too sure. He honestly has a lot of options. And once again, the Bad Manor Pylon to block access to the refinery. Is it worth the 100 gas? I don't know. But it does slow Braingod down by quite a bit. 2 zealots coming in, 2 zealots trying to get some SCV kills. But those Marines are killing those zealots quite quick. Killed a single SCV. Don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. A little bit of disruption, yes. But that's 200 minerals for 50 minerals. And of course, whatever lost mining time he loses by losing a single SCV there. So yeah, the cannon there in the front, only a single one. Because he saw the very early +1 command center, so he knows that the marine count is lower than it should be. He's adding on gateways, it looks. He's going for Dragoon range. So one of the options I mentioned is one of the few he's going for, and I like that. Another cannon there in the front, just to make sure Braingod is not going to sneak his way into the base and deal some real painful damage. But he is moving his marines out here into the front, just in case. And he's going to look how many cannons there are in the front, just in case there's an opening he can use. So yeah, medics are now on the way. Stim Brigade is on the way as well. Only 3 cannons might not be enough for the Stim Brigade. There comes the scan. He can see the front. He can see that there's only 2 zealots. You can see there's only 1 cannon that's finished up. He's gonna try to kill the cannon. Stim Brigade is finished. He's going in for the cannon. Kills the cannon. Now he's migrating backwards to kill those 2 zealots. He's gonna wait for the 2 medics. He goes in for the cannon. Now the Dragoons have appeared on the scene as well. He will be forced back. The other cannon finishes up. Now the medics have arrived on the scene. And there's no Dragoon range yet. But there's only a single cannon. There's also only 5 marines. More marines. Fire bats are on the way. He's going to sneak in those fire bats. He's going to try to sneak in those fire bats. That sneaky bastard Braingod. He's going to sneak in the fire bats and go for the minerals. There's only 2 Dragoons there in the front. He's going for the bunker. No, he's going for the cannon. It's not a bunker, it's a cannon. And there he's going to walk. He's not going to walk past. Great Dragoon micro there from 458. I honestly thought that Braingod would try to walk past, which he's doing now. Now he's going to try to walk past, and he actually managed to sneak in a single fire bat, and there's nothing in between the fire bat and the probes. The probes are going to be toasted. Oh, there comes the fire bat. He tries. Ooh, he did manage to get a lot of them. It was a really great move there from 458, trying to split up. Like, oh, more fire bats are coming in. This is some of the cheesiest stuff I've seen in a while, but it's really effective, and it's honestly 458's own fault for falling for it, kinda. Should have had cannons there already, but I think he never expected Braingod to ever get his fire bats in there. He risked his choke really hard, a little bit too hard, and Braingod got himself a really nice and cozy lead here. All he has to do is just play it out, calm and collected. Siege tank already finished up, siege mode already on the way, 2 more factories with machine shops being built. Dragoons are gonna throw. The idea is that he wants to get in there before the siege mode finishes up, but the siege mode has already finished up. Well, it is now already finished up, and he can honestly just even be a little bit aggressive with that siege tank, because the siege tank range in normal mode outranges the Dragoon range. So yeah, the Dragoons have been zoned off. 458 has been cock-blocked, basically. Does have 2 Dragoons there on the way. Is he going to land up on the hill? Or is he going to fly into the base? Right, there comes a scan. He scans the tech progression. He sees that there's 2 robos, 3 robos. Alright, that's peculiar. Triple robo. There's 2 Dragoons there on the hill with the attempt to deny turrets. Just like this, but no turrets are being made. He can't attack. So he's moving them to the... Oh, he's trying to attack, but he can't. Haven't seen this. They haven't seen this before. There he starts the turrets, and now he can attack the turrets. He can attack the SCVs there as well. Gonna hold position them there, and just deny this entire line of turrets from being built there on the side. The tanks are being moved down already by Braingod, because Braingod wants to stop that from happening. Doesn't even have to siege the tanks, because the Dragoons are just gonna very slowly die and perish. He tried to move them away from the vision of the engineering bay, but it's futile. That's a Reaver drop. Reaver drop might come in from the front to kill the bunkers, or he might go in from the top side to fly in for the minerals, but there's marines there ready to intercept. So Braingod's got himself perfectly prepared here. 458 now building some cannons, mostly just building pylons for supply. Or there's 1 cannon there as an anti-tank drop measure, but there is already a tank drop on the way, because we can see the dropship. There's a shuttle flying in. There's a single Reaver in there, but he flies straight into those marines. Has to unload. The Reaver doesn't get a shot off there. Ooh, that's painful. If the Reaver had gotten a shot off, he might at least have killed some marines. If he had gotten lucky, he could have killed all the marines with a single Scarab. But it was not meant to be. Not today. Very sadly, But that's the way it is. Drop there, flying in from the top side already. Second drop number 2. Here's flying. This one planning to land some tanks there on the dragoons there on the hill. Loads up the tank drop. Sieges other tanks for the front to protect his front. Already moving the SCVs there to the side to start making turrets. Already hovering barracks. He's gonna fly in with 2 at the same time. One is a distraction. Mostly just there to take focus. Gonna try go for the marine. The shuttle Reaver micro. There in the corner. But there's too many marines flying in. Nowhere to unload. Gets a second shot off. But the Reaver does not get picked up. And Braingod holds that one pretty easily. Pretty easily. 4 of 8 is trying his hardest to come back into the game. But that hit on his workers that early on, honestly, just completely screwed him over. He's going for mass robos. I'm assuming mass Reaver and Zealot drop somewhere inside of Braingod's base. Maybe here on the bottom side, maybe on the command center, maybe here on the top corner. Anywhere but where the tanks are, basically. So that's basically just 3 options. Clear out the top side, clear out the bottom side, or clear out the main command center area. So yeah, 3 shuttles, 2 Zealots, a single Corsair. He's going to be forced to unload here on top of the turrets because that's a lot of turrets to fly in over, even with 2 Corsairs. But look at this, Braingod thinks he's big enough. He definitely thinks he's big enough to go for the frontal attack. Let's look at the drop first. The drop will not make it all the way through. This one is still alive. Lands the Reaver there on the low ground. Gets a great shot off on those SCVs, but most of the SCVs stay alive. But the frontal attack happening here at the same time. A couple of Reavers there to defend. Tanks sieging up. Zealots don't have speed yet. Tanks are up on the high ground as well. Reaver here has gone down. Reaver is still alive there. Reaver doesn't get a shot out. Reaver kills a couple of SCVs, but nothing serious. He ends up killing about 7 or so in total. So the entire front here has been cleared out by Braingod, and Braingod is now planning on progressing deeper and deeper into 458's very tiny, minuscule base that's pretty much non-existent thanks to those fire bats at the start that decimated his income. And yeah, this is game. You can never afford to lose any of your workers as a Protoss when you're playing against Braingod, because then the game is just completely over. You go for the tank drop, he flies his tanks in closer, kills the probes once again, kills the second stack of probes again as well. Braingod tries to fight it off, but the Reaver goes down, and he's pretty much being neutered here. There's no way 4 of 8 can claw his way back into this one. Dark Templars are out. His worker count has been halved. He's going to kill a couple of those tanks, but the turrets are about to be coming up. And there's nothing he can do. Braingod very comfortably and very convincingly wins these 2 games. And this game was very, very convincing, even though it was due to a small mistake by 458 with his choke size and his awareness with the firebats. He was a little bit too busy microing his firebat as the Dragoons here to the side, while the firebats snuck in. And the rest is history. This game is extremely self-explanatory. There's not much I can say other than that Braingod played a really, really good Terran. Really smart Terran. And held every single attempt by 458, who was for once fighting an uphill battle, even though usually it is a Terran that is fighting an uphill battle. But the tables got flipped, the roles got reversed, and the time was ticking for 458 right from the get-go. Yeah, so nice 2 wins, 1 loss, best of 3 series win for Braingod. And thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.